What's up, everybody? We got a special today. I got Curt here, OG Curt. We're about to do a review on Last Chance U, all 5 seasons, a little bit, mostly about, the newest season at Laney. What were your initial thoughts on it when you first started watching it?
It was rather unique. This Last Chance U, the coach actually seemed just a little bit more compassionate than the past seasons. He had his way of getting his point across, but he wrapped his arms around his players a little bit more than what we've been used to from Last Chance U. The other aspect of it that really got me was that uh, the school wasn't like funded the same as some of
Yeah,
the other JUCOs in the past, and that I kind of recognized that when I think it was Dior had on. I think he had on Nike pants, Nike jerseys, but he had on like some Adidas cleats or something like that, and that kind of woke me up and was like, well, man, I don't think they're getting the same type of funding as some of the past colleges that they spotlighted on there.
yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, that was almost like the first thing too. Just when I remember watching the first couple of seasons, and I was just like, they're like more swagged out than D1 schools.
Yeah, I definitely. Now, obviously, later into the episode, he kind of brought out the new uniforms and new helmets and different stuff like that. But I mean, they kind of got up to par. But especially coming off a championship season, I was expecting to see more. But obviously, everybody knows in the JUCO ranks the turnover rate is super high, especially at winning programs. So I guess he was just holding out and making them earn their keep before he put them into their new uniforms and new helmets.
Yeah, definitely. Now, yeah, going back to like Coach Beam, I think I agree. I mean, I agree with you too. Just like he was way more, I guess, caring. You'd say. What about? Do you think because they showed like a flashback of him? Do you think he was always like that, or you think he was like? Because I feel like he was like more like the other two coaches back in the day.
Yeah, that was the other. I think one of the other benefits. I mean, the other coaches have been. Some of them was veteran. 20+ year coach, but I mean, he's been in the game 40. He was on his 41st season,
Yeah,
so he's kind of been there, done that, seen it all. The other aspect of it was uh, he was more family oriented. I mean, he had his daughters, had his grandchild, his wife. She was an intricate part in helping the players just feel, having a ear and a shoulder whenever they needed it. So I think that gave a big component that had been missing prior to.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember Coach Buddy Stevens. He was a family oriented, a little. Yeah, he was family oriented. But
Yeah.
Coach Jason Brown, he was just living the bachelor life.
Yeah, yeah. He was a different breed. I
Yeah,
mean, I guess and I don't want to. I mean, I'm not knocking him. I mean, he grew up like that. I mean, that's what helped him survive. And some people, they have multiple ways of getting their point across, and then you have some people who just they operate how they operate. And I think that's how Coach Brown was. And he got the best out of some players, and then some players, they don't always adhere to that. And I think that was the difference between being like he knew what buttons to push. He knew when to
mhm.
lay off. He knew when to back up. I think his transition was a lot better than some of the other coaches in the past season.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, it's funny just comparing all the coaches because I remember when I watched the first 2 seasons, like I mean, of like Coach Stevens and Coach Brown, and like I hit up a bunch of my friends that played football, and I was like, because everyone was like criticizing them for being like swearing and all that and cursing and going crazy, and they all of them were like, that's nothing. So like so like then I was like, all right, maybe I think like people, parents and stuff are just going a little too crazy. Like I mean, obviously I think if you record anything, you're probably going to think it's bad when you see it rather than you're in person.
Without a doubt. I mean, I'm sure uh, they getting the gist of it, but they're not getting the good stuff. I
Yeah,
mean, like a day with them, I think I've seen from reading that the cameras pretty much start rolling from anywhere from 10 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. in the evening. So uh, that's a long time, but yet and still, you bound to miss something. I mean,
yeah,
especially with as animated and entertaining as a lot of those coaches were.
yeah. What did you think about like this season? I feel like well, definitely compared to season 4, they showed like more football.
Yeah, this season, I mean, if you didn't know anything about Oakland, I mean, they kind of showed you like of course, a lot of cities in the world are going through, in the country are going through gentrification, and
Mm,
Oakland obviously is one of them. They did a great job, I think, of highlighting some of that, but also the conditions that a
mm,
lot of these players were growing up in. Traveling from I think Jay John was coming from Stockton,
yeah,
all the way to Oak. I mean, it was a lot of drastic measures
yeah,
into this one. It almost made you forget that it was even about football. I mean, that's how some of the situations hit you. I mean, you got New, he was trying to take care of family,
yeah,
had a few kids, wife, she's going to school. They try, living with their parents. I mean, it was tough. Like, I mean, you know, Dior, he lived sleeping in his car, couch surfing. And then, beforehand, I was thinking like, I wonder where he talked about he didn't really want to have his mom stressing out or anything like that. So it made you wonder like had his dad passed away or anything like that. And then boom, his dad has a whole family, a home, like everything.
yeah,
So that kind of, I was like, man, it's a lot of moving parts going on in this season.
yeah, yeah. There's always like obviously a lot of like I guess sad stories like, but I feel like these ones were like even like just like more just like even realer. Like I was just like, damn, like was like this is crazy. Like and even like with RJ, like his story was like I was like this is like nuts. Like he's living at the mom's or the mom's was it her mom's house? Was it the grandma's house? Or was it
Um,
the or she, I forgot some I don't know. He was living at the house where the grandfather was like a molester or something. It was I don't know. It was strange.
yeah, it was wild. That was that. Like I said, it was some extreme situations going on. I mean, and he right. I think it was her dad. It was his mom's dad.
Yeah, yeah,
That and that was. I say it was some heartfelt stories going on, and it made you truly understand like why some of the players were. These players were fighters. Like
yeah,
they're trying to get out. Like, and they didn't feel entitled or spoiled or I think, of course, Dejan, he had some flair to him. I mean, he had some cockiness to him and different things like that. But all of these players pretty much had backgrounds where they were trying to fight and get out of the situations that they were in and get to better situations. So immediately, I thought that was the biggest turn. Like this season, it almost seemed like it doesn't even fit with the rest of
yeah.
the theme of Last Chance U because they were actually using their last chance to create a better chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was the other thing, like, when I first started watching it too, I was like, "Wait, are these guys trying to go D1 or they're just trying to" I don't think there was any really bounce backs either. They were just trying to, like, get out, like, in general, and that's what I liked about it too when New was just like, "Yo, I don't even care about going to D2, like, if I get the full ride to D2, I'm going D2, whatever." But, like, the other guy and then the pitches to the D2s were, like, pretty funny. I tweeted it out actually the other day because it was just like they were like, "Yo, we got the we got we got the Red Lobster, we got the 3 movie theaters." I'm like, "What?" Like everywhere got that.
Right. I think Dior, like he had a chip on his shoulder
Yeah.
and wanting to prove that he can play D1. And I think he took the walk on in Hawaii, but other than that, I think the rest of them, like you said, they were just trying to get a free education, and pretty much that's what a lot of them ended up doing. I was more excited about New because
Mhm.
he was working. Dior was too, but the
Yeah,
fact that he had a family,
yeah,
bringing his kids to practice, um, his wife, like I said, his wife was in school. She ended up graduating and everything like that. So like they just were fighting through a lot. And I mean, I can imagine in California. I mean, I'm here in New York, and I know that the cost of living is no joke. But and it's the same in Cali. I mean, and you scrapping and clawing, trying to rub some coins together when you got a family going to school and different things like that. And then his bloodline, he came from some good football players, and
mhm,
his dad. That was an interesting story in itself, where he hadn't been around or anything like that when he was younger, and then now he is back into his son's life and different stuff like that, and obviously to a different capacity. I mean, considering he was I think he was on drugs and different things like that, but it ended up like they started out rough, and then you saw the progression and in each and every story, and then it got to a better place, and that's what I liked about it.
yeah. The other thing that was funny, I kept on thinking there was 10 episodes, so I was like, "Oh, this is good, like, it's getting good," and I was like, "Oh, there's only 8 episodes," and I was like, "Oh, no, like, it's over," but in a flash, and then, yeah, they ended up, or New ended up going to, or he's going to, Mis or no,
Murray State.
yeah, Murray State. Murray State. So, yeah, but they didn't really show that, right? They didn't show it, him signing
Nah,
or,
they didn't. They
yeah,
just they talked about it at the end, but they didn't really
yeah,
show it. I mean, that I mean, and really, I think what was it? RJ,
mhm,
New, Dior, Dejan. I mean, that was pretty much was the featured players throughout. I actually in my notes,
yeah,
I think I had it where
in the corner,
RJ ended up going.
Raj.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? What got me though with RJ is like at the end
Yeah,
where they show he was actually calling
yeah, I
colleges,
know, yeah,
and that kind of threw me for a second because I'm like, where the coach? I mean, they had a nice uh, coaching roster, they had, as
right,
far as numbers, and I'm like, why is he doing the calling and different stuff like that? But I think he ended up going to school, or I think it's a university in
mhm.
Tennessee,
Yeah, well,
another
I
D2.
well, I actually looked it up, though. He decommitted, so he's nowhere right now. He's back trying to get in somewhere. Well, I mean, especially now, it's kinda weird, with, the virus and stuff.
No, definitely. And that I don't sound. I'm not pretty much surprised about that. I
Yeah,
mean, depending on what the circumstances was of him going there. I mean, he had. I mean, he had some moments where when he was getting frustrated, he wasn't getting the ball, and
yeah,
could they have not had a worse start with
yeah.
going through all those quarterbacks?
Yeah, that was just nuts. Like, but every season had that. Every season, the quarterback
Yeah,
gets injured. This is on another
yeah.
level, obviously. I mean,
Right, you had to take your what
emergency.
5'8" receiver
Yeah,
that hadn't played quarterback in what 2-3 years, and
yeah,
then I mean they was going through it. I mean he did the best that he could. I think me and my partner, we was talking, and he watched it here and there, and he said one of the funniest parts is on Jersey Day, when
yeah,
Coach Bean kind of went old school on him and was like, he didn't want number 36, and then he told me, so the player make the number.
yeah.
The number don't make the player, but ain't nobody trying to hear that. Like they want the number. Who wants to wear 36?
When I saw that, though, I was
So
thinking Brian Westbrook,
yeah, I mean
36.
we would probably and find a way to make it make sense. I mean, I think obviously he must have had a number that he'd been wearing for a long time,
Yeah,
and he just wanted to keep that tradition. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
was
the other
pretty
interesting thing
pretty
is, I
wild.
think with all of them when they're recruiting, I feel like a lot because I went to one double A, and I never really seen that many. Like, I feel like that's where like they could end up and succeed. Like most of those players. But like I feel like that's why I'm like,
Yeah,
why? Where are they at? Like I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't know. There's probably just so many players. Even with social media, there's just so many guys. There's just so many. There's still going to be people that get lost in the cracks.
Yeah, I mean, I think this might be the series where they had probably the least talent. If
Yeah,
I say so, like the quarterback wasn't. He was steady for what they did, but he wasn't electrifying or anything like that. He wasn't a tall prototype quarterback. I mean, like I said, I think he completed their system for what they like to do, but I didn't really see him playing. And I think Bean was honest with. That was
yeah,
the thing about
yeah.
it. He was honest with those guys. I mean, I think it really the
I thought
way
that
they
was dope.
finished the season off, I think that it pretty much was where they was at considering the circumstances.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like I noticed too is just like they were. I think those kids are really playing for the love of the game just to play.
Yeah, I mean that's the way. I
Yeah,
mean, none of the other players in any other episode had to go to practice or get off, work a shift at Wingstop,
yeah,
and then leave Wingstop, and then try to figure out where they was gonna go to sleep. So I mean, it was like if you looked at this compared to the other ones, it's like those other JUCOs. I mean, whatever those are big time JUCOs, but I mean, they look like D1s compared to
yeah,
this one.
yeah, definitely. Now going through all of them, who would you say was your favorite character? Actually, who was your favorite character in season 5, and then who's your favorite character overall?
Um, I think season 5. I had to go with it. I'd have to go with Dior because he was fighting.
Yeah,
He was fighting a lot. I mean, and I think, and he never really let it. He never let it get to him to the point where he like crashed. I mean, I think he fought it. He used the help around him, resources. Like um, he never battled the people who cared about him. I
yeah,
mean, I think he was. So I definitely give him some credit for that because he was going through a lot. I mean, and then just extending it a little further, like the relationship with his dad was like it
yeah,
was crazy because I understand, like I'm a father, but like some of the tactics that he used with his son and stuff like that, it's just like I mean,
strange.
people are yeah, it was I mean, it was wild, and it's like you almost like, man, how's he still standing and
Yeah,
waking up every day fighting? So I definitely have to roll with Dior in this series. But overall, though, I like Big Ollie.
yeah, that's what I was
like,
gonna say. I was like,
uh,
Ali got my number one.
yeah, I think it's kind of he was big, talented, big, lazy, funny. Um, you know, this I mean, this a big fun loving kid. I mean, that obviously got by a lot just because he was big, strong, and talented. But definitely that was one of my favorite characters in throughout the whole Last Chance U series. But I got something I didn't like. like I think what was the quarterback that was on forget his name. The quarterback that was on that team. That
He's
I mean,
Mississippi.
he was pretty. He was
Oh,
pretty
John Franklin.
cocky. Uh, I actually liked him. I think it was. Hold on, no, it
DeAndre.
wasn't that. No. It wasn't that serious. It was
Oh, you're
actually
talking
with Coach
about
Brown
Malik Henry.
and with Indy. Yeah, Malik. Yeah. And I actually had a player that I had coached in basketball. He was primarily a football player, but he played on that team in Indy the year that they did that
Oh, okay.
series. So it was pretty dope. He was one of the receivers, Matthew Wilcox. So he went on and went to Eastern Kentucky from that team. But definitely it was kind of cool to see him in that. But yeah,
Yeah,
Henry, he was something else. But
yeah,
but I imagine like a lot of those big
yeah,
time players. But that's part of the reason why they end up back there because
yeah,
that ego can only carry you so far.
yeah. That's the other thing. It's like how they portrayed them, or it's like how much footage is there that they could make a whole nother like 8 episodes of each season? Like they could probably, it would be crazy. Like I'd love to see it. Maybe they'll do that now that they're not doing the more football one, but who knows?
Nah, definitely. I we it is that, and that's the thing. We're entertained by what they actually present to us, but
Yeah,
all the raw footage that we don't
yeah,
get to see, that's probably where the real action is.
yeah,
The
yeah.
real action is at.
They
So it's
probably have so
definitely
many
be
hours of
interesting,
footage.
like you said. That oh yeah, I mean, and now that, like you said, they're probably not gonna. I don't. They probably they saying right as of right now that they're not gonna do any more of the football. So
Yeah,
definitely can't imagine them just letting it go to waste.
yeah. Like I said, we definitely got to check out Cheer just because the producer produced that one. Cheerleading. If they said it's the cheerleading, the last chance you, I guess. And then I'm excited to see the basketball one. I think it's gonna be interesting because then it's just like less players, so like you could almost focus on. I mean, obviously they focus on a few each year, but I mean they could pretty much. I mean, you could pretty much talk to the whole team.
Oh yeah, I think basketball is a real easy cover
Yeah,
compared to the football. I mean, and then but even then with the football, most of the time they pretty much stick to the skill positions. Not
yeah,
a really, it's been always been more about the quarterback, receivers, running backs. I mean, so uh, but basketball definitely be interesting because most of the time, each team has at least one or two really good players in it. So it's I think that's really going to be intriguing. I mean, to watch
yeah,
because that recruiting process is a little different from
right.
the D1 JUCO basketball versus football.
Yeah, and I want to say mostly D1 basketball is full rides.
Yeah,
So that's like
that's the
a
other thing. So
yeah. That's like you get on there, you're already good. What
for the
about
most part.
yeah, last question for me. I don't know if you have any questions, but how would you rank all 5 seasons? I got mine in my head.
Let's see. Let's see. I mean, cause see, like I said, this one is always going to be the standout because it made you think more
Yeah,
outside the box than just football. But uh ironically, because I'm a big buddy guy. like, I mean, I mean, that's what I'm used to. I mean, I like that intensity and everything else,
yeah,
but um this is gonna probably be kind of corny, but I think they pretty much, at least for my interest level, I think that the order that they produced them, that's the order that I like. I mean,
yeah,
because like I said, this would probably, if the football factor, this would be my least entertaining.
yeah,
Uh
yeah.
Least entertaining from the football side of it. But from the humanistic side of it, this definitely
Mhm.
is one of my favorites. So I think the order is perfect for me. I mean, that might be a little corny, but that's the good perfect order for me.
Yeah, so that's how I felt originally, but then I thought about it more. So I said season one, and then season three, like first season with Coach Brown. Then the third rank would be the second season. Then the fourth rank would be the fifth season. Then the last one would be fourth season, second season in Indy.
Okay,
Because like the
that's
fourth
not
season
bad.
was
That's
like all
not bad. I
drama.
mean, right. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, yeah, I'm just laughing because like he used to be over the top. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, and I was defending him the first series with him, but after that it was like I couldn't defend him any longer because I mean, like, the thing about it, from the outside looking in, we can look at a lot of things as harsh, but
yeah,
the coach that decides to take a chance on a lot of these players, they typically know these kids obviously a lot better than the outside. So they know what it takes to get some of these kids going. They know what it takes to be able to deal with them on a day-to-day basis. So you have to take that into account. And like, from my coaching days of the physical sport, as like what a lot of coaches that I coach under is that they say, never think you know another man's team better than he does.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much how it goes, even from the Buddy Stevens to the Jason Browns and all of that. I mean, even from Coach Beam, like I mean, you know, like I mean, because coaches get criticized regardless. You know,
Yeah,
if you too harsh, it's something. If
yeah,
people think if you're not harsh enough, it's something. So I think they try to do the best job that they can do with who they knew they were working with.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Do you have any other questions or thoughts or comments or you want to talk about?
Uh, I think just to cap it off from this last season is just overall, it's just the brothers. I like the fact that Dejan and his brother, they ended up. I think he ended up going and fighting for the other DB's
Yeah,
position at Oregon State. So I thought that was pretty unique, and I thought it was great because as it went on, I wondered about their father too, and
mhm,
like what happened. And then that story was, man, there's so much heartbreak
yeah,
and hearing to a lot of their stories and just how their father passed and how actually involved like he was with them. Like so that that had its own their own emotional roller coaster with that, and just being able to go and be together at that high level. I think it's
yeah,
great for
yeah, absolutely.
Dejan because he need his brother
Yeah,
to be with him to tone him down and different stuff like that. So yeah, but other than that, I mean, I think it was a great series. I mean, like I
yeah,
said, it was they showed some coaching. They showed some coaching. They showed some heart. They end up winning out at the end, but wasn't obviously good enough. I didn't think from the way it was going that they were going to make
yeah,
the final four for the state championship. But I mean, they gave it a good run considering what ended up happening. But you know, like I said, I think we got the basketball coming. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna look into the cheer and get caught up with that, and then we can meet again and talk about
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the other thing that was cool was like the last part of it was like kind of up to date when the virus hit. So then now all the players are kind of in flux right now, which obviously we all are. And
it. Right.
and then it said at the end that I think Laney's planning to play in the spring 2021.
Yeah, yeah. Now that you said it, I do remember that part. So
Mhm.
I think Beam. I think he looks like the kind of coach that's probably going. They're gonna have to put him out. He's there to stay. I mean, he's an icon in Oakland. I mean, for being able to take on, he did a great job at the Skyline High School where he coached at for years before he went to Laney. So he's gonna be on the sidelines forever there, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they end up doing actual, overall reunion
Yeah.
from Last Chance U, like a recap episode of some of the past players, like a lot that we've talked about, like what ended up happening to
Mhm.
Henry. It's also some tragic stories in there, but
Yeah.
different things like that. So it's just going to be interesting to see if they come up with a follow up reunion type episode. And for all of us who've been anxious, because I know when this came out, I was super geeked to watch it, and I
Yeah.
binge watched it in like 2 days.
Yeah, see that was funny too because I think the past 2 years I like kind of binge watched it, but like I didn't like doing that completely like in one day because then I was just like, damn, like, and then at the end I was just like I wanted it to end, but I didn't want it to end at the same time. So this year I separated and it was a little better.
Right. I think I probably didn't like 2.5.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, and it took a friend of mine to even remind me. He's like, "Hey, man, the new Last Chance." I was like, "Oh snap, I forgot." So I loaded up that same night when it came out.
yeah. I feel you. Well, appreciate you coming on with me and discussing it. It was dope. I think a lot of people will check it out because it's popping right now.
Well, man, thanks for having me, and anytime I'll be back, and we can talk whatever.